Post-millennial, Joy Reid says wanting to have children is part of nationalistic drive towards fascism.
What is?
I do believe that this election is a litmus test for American tolerance for fascism. Let me play the clip for you.
Wasn't she killed by that cop?
I do believe that this election is a litmus test for American tolerance for fascism. The elements of fascism are rooted in this nationalistic drive for more babies for the state, for a strongman-driven nation, and a deep sort of state-based religiosity. So I do believe we have a media problem, and we do have some of our media that is leading people toward fascism. The question of America has become too soft and feminine. I think that is it's a fascist litmus test. So this question of whether the society is too soft and feminine, it was alarming to me that a majority of Hispanic Protestants agree, but that's not shocking. Immigrants are poisoning the blood of the country. This is one of the most terrifying things that you've heard a presidential candidate say, because it is straight out of Mein Kampf. 23% of Jewish respondents agree with that, because that's straight out Nazi talk.
So the majority of Jews don't. By the way, so the majority of Jews don't agree that that's something out of Mein Kampf. To be like 23% agree. You mean a minority? 1/4 of them?
I just want to stress, it's a death cult.
Yeah.
And I'm not being cute, okay? This is not meant to be haha silly. When prominent liberal personalities say it is bad to have kids, there is one simple mathematical equation you need to understand. If a society does not have kids, the society ceases to exist in a few generations.
Yep.
I've said this 100 times before. I mean, they just hate the family. That's all this is. What
But
is
talking
fascism
about babies?
mean here?
They hate babies.
No, I know, exactly. And the safest place for a baby to exist is within the confines of a loving marriage, in a productive, happy, healthy family. They hate that. They can't stand that. The fact that she says having more children for the state, that just shows you where her head's at. That's what she thinks the purpose of children are. So when people say they want to have more children, she goes, more kids for the state? No. Children belong to their families.
But this is the same kind of ideology that says homeschooling is bad, like not wanting to go. So it's kids for the state if they're allowed to be educated and controlled by the state. But if you just want to have them because you believe your culture is good, you believe your family is good, you think that America's a nice country and you don't want its birth rates to collapse, then you're a fascist.
Well, yeah, politically they're anti-family because a strong family is the greatest threat to a strong state. They're anti-human. Because, they just hate God and they hate everything God created and they hate everything God designed. Humans are made to work a certain way. Life works best when we kind of follow the way God designed it and planned it. And leftists just resent that. It's all about wanting to be your own God.
Yeah, and I'll take it a layer deeper, too. Part of what being your own God means is defining your own terms of logic. The reality is, even though, of course, as a Catholic, I believe very strongly and firmly in Scripture and tradition, a lot of the moral rules that we're talking about here are just moral precepts that you can arrive at through pure
natural law.
Natural logic. Yeah, exactly. So, for example, you don't need to have divine revelation to know that the best place for a child to be raised is within a family, and the best way to ensure that that happens is if you're not promoting sex outside of marriage, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, so many of what we call right-wing or even religious principles are just basic, straightforward logic that you don't actually need Scripture to inform you on.
You don't need commandments to honor your father and mother. And for the secular atheists out there who are like, I don't care about the commandments, then I'll throw it to Tony Stark in Captain America Civil War, when they discovered that Bucky Barnes killed Tony Stark's mom, and Captain America says it wasn't him, it's not his fault, and he says, I don't care, he killed my mom. You don't need Scripture to explain to a man that he loves his mother and would kill someone who would dare harm his family. And the reason for it is basic logic and also rooted in science. When human beings survive, they are proving to reality that their strategy worked. When they have kids, they are proving to reality that they have survived beyond themselves. So when the child honors and trusts in their parents, they are inheriting survival traits. This is science, but it's also in Scripture. But there are people who, again, they reject anything that exists in a right-wing tradition because it is tradition, I suppose, or because they assume it's derived from nothing.
Well, yeah, and in reality is a reminder to everyone that there is something higher than you, that exists outside of you, that transcends you. And leftists resent that because their whole philosophy depends on the idea that you can speak reality into existence, that what you believe and what you say you make your own reality and you make your own meaning. And when reality hits them in the face, that makes them go crazy.
They call it manifesting.
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of friends who are like manifesting things. And I'm like, bro, you're not like Ian thinks he can make it rain.
But I mean, even at the political
Babylon
level,
B manifests stuff by writing things in our headlines, and they come true.
That is
to each
true.
other.
Maybe you guys are going to discover a new religion here.
But no, I mean, even at the political level, obviously they don't discuss manifesting, but they'll talk about self-ID, which is essentially the same thing. I'm just a woman because I've said I'm a woman. Now, one of the funny things about self-ID is it inherently collapses in on itself. It's an absurdity. It's actually a logical contradiction, because if I were to say that I identify as a woman, right? Well, what do they say? Well, I didn't just become a woman. I've been a woman my whole life. Okay, so when I identified as a man, I wasn't really a man. So you're saying that my self-ID isn't always accurate.
Right. There's no logic.
Yeah, there's zero logic, but it
why-
actually, like, self-ID literally refutes itself.
Speaking of which, who's that guy that recently came out? He said
Josh Sider.
Yeah, he faked being a transgender person for like 6 months.
We actually have a camera guy filming the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
I mean, we knew. I think a lot of people kind of had an idea, but we had actually ended up talking to him because he came on the show, and he said it was a social experiment where he was trying to prove the hypocrisy and gullibility of the left. So it was an absurdist character where he's like obviously a ripped guy who goes to the gym with chest hair and facial hair but wearing lipstick. And he has these funny bits where he's like, I said to the man out on the date with me that I think the man should pay. And I pushed the check to him. And then he says, okay, then you should pay, and pushed it back. And that was rude. And so it was like kind of obvious, but he followed all the rules.
But the fact that he committed to it for like 5 months, that is dedication right there.
Yeah, people were saying he's who was it, Jim Belushi?
Well, was that, oh my gosh, that old film? Wait, what? Oh, when does Jim Belushi... What film did Jim Belushi do that in?
He was a character actor.
Oh, okay. So he's like literally...
Like method actor?
Am I saying the wrong actor, maybe?
Are you thinking of like Miss Doubtfire with Robin Williams?
No.
Or just that they're
too
saying
young.
he
I
took
mean,
on this character so
Okay.
intensely.
Yeah.
Because that's what character actors
Who's
do,
that?
right?
Who's that famous method actor who played Lincoln? He played
Meth
Bill
head
the
actor?
Butcher.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis,
Yeah,
yes.
he's great, man. I love it.
But I know they want social experiments.
I want to bring it back to this because we're talking about an election right now where Joy Reid is saying if you want to have, I'm sorry, let me make sure it's perfectly clear that the want of children is part of a nationalistic drive towards fascism. That is to say, if you are a woman or man and you're in your mid to late 20s and you're thinking about having a family, which is about the time you should be, you're a fascist.
Yeah, exactly.
This is all humans everywhere.
This is any time you propose anything that's good for children or good for the future, they call it fascism. When you say you should be able to show porn to children in schools, they say that's fascism.
This is the meme. Where literal everything is fascism.
Fitness, health and fitness is fascism, and it makes me so mad. Being a father of 5 kids and knowing how much joy a child brings, not only, are these people evil liars who are, taking us all towards civilizational suicide, but they're robbing so many young people, gullible young minds, of incredible joy that they could be having in their life if they were willing to have kids. Too many young people are scared to have kids, and it's because of these evil psychos.
Well, and it changes all the time, right? Right now it's nationalist fascism or whatever, but before it was the environment. I mean, there were studies that said so many young couples were saying they didn't think they would have kids, or they were sure they weren't going to have kids because of anxiety over the climate. I mean, give it 2 more years, I'm sure they'll have something else to argue. The reality is that they are preying on what I think is a totally natural apprehension. Having children is serious.
Scary.
It's a big responsibility. It changes your life, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it.
And you'll never be ready for it.
No, I'm sure.
I don't care how financially stable you think you are. No one is ready to have kids, and you just got to do it.
Right, but they're preying on this anxiety, this naturally occurring like self-doubt, right? Like, am I ready? Can I provide for whatever? That's fine. But the alternative is especially right now, you'll see this with J.D. Vance being like, we should do whatever we can to support people.
I love him.
Who want to have. He's fantastic.
The most pro-family candidate I've ever seen, and actually putting policy ideas behind it to support people who want to have kids is just, I love it.
What are these, like, does Joy Reid have a family? Like, what are they going to do? I guess it's going to be like Chelsea Handler, where she says she wakes up in the morning, does drugs, and masturbates. And it's a little crass to say, but like that's literally what she said she does.
Well, that's the vision we're sold of what happiness is. Unbridled sexual pleasure, completely disconnected from reason, being able to do whatever you want all the time, going to concerts, spending money on vacations and traveling, and not contributing anything to society or the future. That's what happiness is. That's what you'll be fulfilled doing. And it's actually the people who live normal, traditional lives with a family, with a wife, with children, with a career that is conducive to the flourishing of their family, who are actually just pretending to be happy. Don't let them fool you. The suburbs are a horrible place to live, and everyone truly feels suffocated by the picket fence that they live behind, and
Meanwhile,
nobody likes
Coda
having
from that
that
show
leave it
just
to
left
Beaver
for the
style
suburbs.
life.
Yeah.
But the city is just so great, and we love being screamed at and stabbed by homeless people on the subway. You're the one who's faking being happy.
The American dream has always been to live in a 5x10 bachelor apartment with no bathroom or sink, and then to walk outside to the smell of sour milk, to spend $50 every day dealing with buses and high cost of food, and then you have nothing left over at the end of the day. But that's the dream.
That's the dream. That's what you want. You're happy.
Because you asked, Joy Reid has 3 kids. I looked it up.
3 kids. Oh my gosh.
I want to. This is kind
She's
of
a fascist.
one of the only points.
Why?
That they
Oh,
have
wait,
here.
wait. No,
Yeah,
no.
go
Unless
ahead.
she's saying it was an accident.
I think it was
It says the
intentional.
want of having children is fascist, so she must have accidentally had kids.
Yeah, she didn't want it. She did it under
It wasn't. No, it
duress.
wasn't. Does she have kids?
Yeah, she has 3.
Well, it wasn't fascist when she did it. Obviously. Obviously, you guys. Come on.
It's only fascist when the birth rate is collapsing.
Only fascist when white people.
When white people do it.
Exactly,
That's right.
literally. It's fascist when white people have children. It's fascist when you try to do something about the collapsing birth rate in your country that isn't just importing millions of people from other countries to replace you and your family.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.